This update live from the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League News Hub is brought to you by the new and even worse Impossible Burger from Burger King. Named for the inability of any normal, self-respecting human being to get past one bite, the new Impossible Whopper is made with 0% beef and tastes 100% like actual shit. And with Week 3 underway, we'll take a look at a team who is also able to pull off the impossible. Blitz a small world. After a hard-fought Week 1 battle against longtime rival Rick Horn and the St. Louis Lot Lizards, Blitz a Small World team owner Hannah Schroeder and her squad skipped past the beauty of her Week 2 game plan and went full-out beast against the newly minted and seemingly terrifying 5th Fleet's Demon Barbers, scoring an incredible 188.4 points, the highest single-game score of any team this season. We'll see if Blitz a Small World can stay in tune and keep the steamboat rolling as they get set to take on their third consecutive Rated R opponents, the Constipated Leather Daddies. The Leather Daddies are an absolute mess right now.
Oh my God. He shit everywhere. My house is full of shit! He shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
Taking on their second consecutive loss for the first time since Week 6 and 7 of the 2019 No Punt Intended fantasy football season, with the most recent laxative coming by way of their 2020 Week 2 matchup against the defending champion Lamar Peoples and #Money Team. Reports from the league's tabloid suggest that the continuous rejection team owner Danny Gilmore has received from the Bellingham Bimblosses has resulted in a bit of a concerning drinking problem. But with cash flow few and far between at Total Fallacy these days, the Leather Daddies were only able to afford the type of moose piss that even homeless meth heads would scoff at. Nevertheless, we'll see if the Constipated Leather Daddies can get their bowels back in check and avoid continuing to defecate all over the walls and roof they sleep under, in order to start to reestablish clientele other than Jason LaRoche at Total Fallacy and more. Up next, it's a battle of throat slashers versus hoe slappers, as Tebow's Before Hoes get set to host 5th Fleet's Demon Barbers. Pimping has not been easy for Tebow's Before Hoes throughout the first 2 weeks of the season, after being relentlessly bitch-slapped by both the current and former league champs to open their 2020 campaign. After Tebow's Before Hoes tried to go for a new look this season, avoiding taking patients from the mental hospital and instead picking up candidates from their local senior citizen center to lead their team. Nevertheless, we'll see if the pimps in distress can stop buying their swag at Goodwill and start demanding some respect in order to avoid another 0-3 start. Meanwhile, the debut of 5th Fleet's Demon Barbers was not as deadly as many had expected, as team owner John Hawkins was absolutely slayed by a bunch of minimum wage cast members at Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom, leading to speculation that Hannah Schroeder was the real Demon Barber, making John John's hair look like a damn Furby, despite an incredible effort of 171.8 points in an absolutely offensive shootout. Nevertheless, we'll see if 5th Fleet's Demon Barbers can sharpen their blades and reset their focus in order to quench their bloodlust en route to championship glory. Up next, it's our official Game of the Week. Clam Slam 2020. As the Shaggy Carpet Munchers travel to scissor it out with the Bellingham Bimblosses. The Bimblosses are also coming off a heartbreaking loss, despite a last-minute deep leg spread by local nightclub crossdresser Darren Waller in what had appeared to be a Dallas Cowboys-like late comeback against the ATLians, finishing with a noteworthy score of 166.82 points. But it was just not enough, as the ATLians were able to invade just about every crevice of the Bimblosses' bodies with their unlubricated probes. The Bimblases recently took to Twitter to say this about their Week 3 opponents.
Those disgusting lesbians are about to be choking on the shaggiest carpets in the league, batch.
Oh, this is disgusting.
So for all of you would-be simps of the Bellingham Bimblases out there, maybe it's best to bring a weed whacker on any potential first date. Nevertheless, we'll see if the Bimblases can get back on their knees and back to
Totally kicking ass.
in hopes to out-scissor their way to victory. Meanwhile, the Shaggy Carpet Munchers have been flawless in their no pun intended fantasy football league debut, completely muff-diving their way past Wide as Y in Week 2, and keeping both their carpets and their drapes completely untouched by Wide as Y's stockpile of Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew Code Red. According to a recent interview with the Carpet Munchers team owner, Robert DeCero, the Shaggy Carpet Munchers will be looking to be the total dominatrix in this battle of the muffs, and promises to slap a tramp stamp on the Bimblases after they've had their way with them. Considering the Bimblases have already been through just about every male in the streets of Bellingham. We'll see if the Shaggy Carpet Munchers can stay true to their word and muff dive their way to victory. Up next, it's yet another Western Division rivalry as Wide as Y gets set for their home opener against Carroll's Exotic Biters. Wide as Y is coming off of yet another grueling loss on the road to open their 2020 campaign, after once again running completely out of Dr. Pepper, rendering team owner Jason LaRoche with entirely too low of blood pressure to avoid getting eaten out by the Shaggy Carpet Munchers in Week 2. What is worth note, however, is that they are the highest ranking squad out of the 4 teams currently sitting, with a record of 0-2. The team is back at home for the first time this season, so one would expect for their Dr. Pepper to be readily available, and we'll see if Wide as Y can walk into Week 4 feeling pretty good about their first victory of the season. Meanwhile, the rebranded Carroll's Exotic Biters have been all meow and no bite in their 2020 campaign, stringing together an 0-2 record for the first time in several seasons. A long-time heated rivalry with Emancipated Thunder Jockeys team owner Miles Hart saw the Exotic Biters have their dentures smacked out once again as the Thunder Jockeys were able to completely pwn their noob opponents. Although one has to wonder the potential this team could have if they were not without star wide receiver Michael Thomas. Reports from the league's tabloid suggest that Michael Thomas isn't actually injured. He just, quote, doesn't want to be associated with a bunch of pussies, end quote. Nevertheless, we'll see if the Exotic Biters can finally get their first win of the season in hopes that Carol Baskin herself does not have to start managing team operations. Up next, it's a heated rivalry of past and present in hopes for a championship future, as the former champion St. Louis Lot Lizards get set to host current champion #Money Team. The Lot Lizards' home opener at the Dome at America Center was an absolute ball-busting success in Week 2, completely hoe-bagging their way past Tebow's Before Hoes as Tamika Elliott successfully delivered full exclusive Lot Lizard services to 22.2 customers, one of them was a midget, in just 3 hours. Dome field advantage played a huge part in keeping the Lot Lizards' record perfect, but it was not without its consequences, as Rashida Mostert badly rolled her ankle while sprinting downfield in 9-inch heels. And concerns are also starting to grow for Julia Jones, who strained her thigh after performing $5 lap dances at the after party. Team owner Rick Horn is quoted as saying that Jones will be a game-time decision. Nevertheless, we'll see if the fans of the Dome can be just as disruptive for the second week in a row as the Lot Lizards look to give the defending champs their first loss of the season. Meanwhile, hashtag Money Team has also remained perfect on the season, although reports from the league's tabloids speculate that they may be using counterfeit currency, as hashtag Money Team is averaging just over 123 points a game, a far cry from their average of over 145 points in their league debut last year. However, their most recent showing against the constipated Leather Daddies was still a performance to be remembered, as hashtag Money Team was able to nearly bankrupt the Leather Daddies to the point that team owner Danny Gilmore was forced to chug 24 ounces of pure moose piss. We'll see if hashtag Money Team can continue their dominant ways and not donate any money to their truck stop whore opponents en route to yet another victory to tack on to their 2020 campaign. Last but certainly not least in our Week 3 matchups, it's a battle of otherworldly madness as the ATLians get set to host the Emancipated Thunder Jockeys. The ATLians are back in the win column for the first time this season after having their way with their longtime division rivals, the Bellingham Bimblosses, in a battle that saw team owner Adam Siffy get a seriously creepy stiffy, as his force fields were able to stave off any last-minute venereal diseases that the Bimblosses tried to throw at him. And as the league's fourth highest scoring squad, fans across the galaxy are clamoring for the possibility of a huge upset over their fat-ass alcoholic comic book opponents. We'll see if the ATLians can prove that their Thunder Rod probes are even more powerful than any type of lightning or hammers that his number one ranked opponent may bring. Meanwhile, the Thunder Jockeys are continuing to make their presence commandingly known in their league debut, after not concerning themselves with their Week 2 peasant opponents, completely taming Karen's exotic dentures, Carol's exotic biters with ease, and yet another impressive showing of over 150 points. We'll see if the Emancipated Thunder Jockeys can stay sober long enough to sling their hammers at full force in order to break their way through the ATLians' force fields en route to another victory. That's all for your highlights from the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League News Hub. Be sure to check your lineups ahead of Sunday's games, and we will see you on the virtual gridiron.